New leaders often think of leadership power as something to be granted by an organization through a leader's position. However, leaders also have power that doesn't depend on job authority, and they influence people through a variety of means. Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. Transformational leadership is characterized by the ability to bring about significant change in both followers and the organization. Transformational leaders have the ability to lead changes in an organization's vision, strategy, and culture, as well as promote innovation in products and technologies. One way to understand transformational leadership is to compare it to transactional leadership. The basis of transactional leadership is a transaction or exchange process between leaders and followers. The transactional leader recognizes followers' needs and desires and then clarifies how those needs and desires will be satisfied in exchange for meeting specified objectives or performing certain duties. Transformational leadership differs from transactional leadership in 4 significant areas. Let's take a look. Transformational leadership paints a grand vision of a desired future and communicates it in a way that makes the pain of change worth the effort. The most significant role of a transformational leader may be to articulate a vision that is significantly better than the old one and to enlist others in sharing the dream. It's the vision that launches people into action and provides the basis for other aspects of transformational leadership. Without vision, there can be no transformation. Transformational leadership then inspires followers to go beyond their own self-interests for the good of the group. Transformational leaders motivate people to do more than they originally expected. They make followers aware of the importance of changed goals and outcomes and in turn enable them to transcend their own immediate interests for the sake of the organization. Transformational leadership develops followers into leaders. Instead of strictly controlling people, transformational leaders strive to bring out the best in followers. They rally people around the mission and the vision and define the boundaries within the followers can operate with great freedom to accomplish goals. They enlist followers in identifying problems and help them look at things in new ways so they can bring about productive change to reach the vision. Admittedly, effective leaders exhibit both transformational and transactional leadership patterns. They articulate not only their ability to build a vision and empower and energize others, but also the transactional skills of designing structures, systems, and controls to help people achieve the vision. Let's turn our attention to charismatic leaders, who have an emotional impact on people and inspire them to do more than they normally would, despite obstacles and personal sacrifice. A charismatic leader's passion for a mission inspires people to follow them and motivates people to transcend their own interests for the sake of achieving a goal. Charisma can be used for good or bad, but applied wisely and ethically, it can lift an entire organization's level of energy and performance. Although charisma itself cannot be learned, there are aspects of charismatic leadership that anyone can use. They include a personal passion, a clear vision, and personal characteristics. For one thing, charisma comes from pursuing activities that you have a true passion for. Charismatic leaders are engaging their emotions in everyday work life, which makes them more energetic, enthusiastic, and attractive to others. Charismatic leaders are able to articulate an idealized vision of a better future. They have an ability to communicate complex ideas and goals in a clear, compelling way so that people understand and identify with their message. Charismatic leaders also act in unconventional ways and use unconventional means to transcend the status quo and to create change. The final quality shared by charismatic leaders that we'll cover today is their source of influence coming from personal characteristics rather than from a formal position of authority. People admire, respect, and identify with the leader and want to be more like him or her. Transformational and charismatic leadership represent types of influence that leaders may use. After all, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So let's define power as the potential ability of one person in an organization to influence other people to bring about desired outcomes. Power can be categorized as either hard power or soft power. Let's take a look. Hard power includes legitimate, reward, or coercive power, which are defined largely by the organization's policies and procedures. However, it's important to remember that positional power and leadership are not the same thing. Effective leaders don't rely solely on the hard power of their formal position to influence others. Soft power includes expert and reference power, which is all about inspiring others to action. In today's world, soft power is, more than ever, the tool of the leader. Most discussions of power include 5 types that are available to leaders, categorized as either hard power or soft power. Legitimate power is the authority granted from a formal position in an organization. Once a person has been selected as a supervisor, for example, most employees accept that they're obligated to follow his or her direction. Certain rights, responsibilities, and prerogatives accrue to anyone holding a formal leadership position. Followers accept the legitimate rights of formal leaders to set goals, make decisions, and direct activities. Power that stems from the authority to bestow rewards on people is called reward power. For example, appointed leaders may have access to formal rewards, such as pay increases or promotions. Leaders with reward power use rewards to influence subordinates' behavior. The opposite of reward power is coercive power. It refers to the power to punish or recommend punishment. Supervisors have coercive power as they have the right to fire or demote subordinates, criticize, or withhold pay increases. Coercive power is a negative side of legitimate power and reward power. Power resulting from a leader's special knowledge or skill regarding tasks performed by followers is referred to as expert power. When a leader is a true expert, subordinates go along with recommendations because of his or her superior knowledge. People throughout the organization with expertise and knowledge can use it to influence or place limits on decisions made by people above them in the organization. Referent power comes from a leader's personality characteristics that commands followers' respect so that they want to emulate the leader. When workers admire a supervisor because of the way he or she deals with them, the influence is based on referent power. Referent power depends on the leader's personal characteristics rather than formal title or position, and is especially visible in the area of charismatic leadership. Leaders understand their influence and how power plays into their leadership. A frame is a perspective from which a leader views the world, and it influences how the leader interacts with followers, makes decisions, and exercises power. The 4 leader frames of reference are structural, human resource, political, and symbolic. The structural frame places emphasis on plans, goal setting, and clarifying expectations as a way to provide order, efficiency, and stability. Leaders rely heavily on power and authority granted through their organizational position to influence others. That's what we call positional power. And they emphasize clear job descriptions, rules and procedures, and administrative systems. This frame views the organization as a rational system and strives for clarity of direction and control of results. According to the human resource frame, people are the organization's most valuable resource. This frame defines problems and issues in interpersonal terms and looks for ways to adjust the organization to meet human needs. Leaders use the human resource perspective to involve followers and give them opportunities for professional and personal development. The images in this view are a sense of family, belonging, and the organization as a clan. The political frame views organizations as arenas of ongoing conflict or tension over the allocation of scarce resources. Leaders spend their time networking and building coalitions to influence decisions and actions. Leaders with this frame of reference strive to build a power base, and they use both position and personal power to achieve desired results. The mindset in this political frame is to be aware of the organization as a jungle. Power and politics are considered a neutral and healthy part of organizational life. To use full leadership potential requires that leaders also develop a 4th frame of reference, the symbolic frame, in which leaders perceive the organization as a system of shared meaning and values. Rather than relying only on the use of formal power or the use of political tactics, leaders focus on shared vision, culture, and values to influence others. Leaders are concerned with the spirit and meaning, and they focus on harnessing followers' dreams and emotions for the benefit of the organization and all of its people. Each of these 4 frames of reference provides significant possibilities for enhancing leadership effectiveness, but each is incomplete. Leaders can first understand their own natural frame, recognize its limitations, and then learn to integrate multiple frames to achieve their full leadership potential. Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. Now, let's explore the 6 principles for building leader influence. First is the appeal to a vision or higher purpose. One effective way to attract people to new behaviors or to make significant changes is to frame the request in a way that emphasizes the vision or higher purpose of the change. Next, you can use rational persuasion. Perhaps the most frequently used influence tactic is rational persuasion. This means using facts, data, and logical arguments to persuade others that a proposed idea or request is the best way to complete a task or accomplish a desired goal. Rational persuasion is the most effective when a leader has technical knowledge and expertise related to the issue, although referent power is also used. Frequently, some parts of a rational argument cannot be backed up with facts and figures, so people have to believe the leader's credibility to accept his or her argument. Leaders persuade others to help them like you. We all know it's easier to say yes to someone when we like them rather than someone we don't. When a leader listens, shows concern for what others want and need, finds common ground, demonstrates respect, and treats people fairly, people are more likely to want to help and support the leader by doing what he or she asks. In addition, most people will like a leader who makes them feel good about themselves. Leaders never underestimate the importance of praise. Leaders rely on the rule of reciprocity. A primary way to turn power into influence is to share what you have, whether it be time, resources, services, or emotional support. There's much research indicating that most people feel a sense of obligation to give something back in return for favors others do for them. Influential leaders develop allies. Reciprocity plays an important role in developing networks of allies, people who can help the leader accomplish his or her goals. Leaders can influence others by taking the time to talk with followers to understand their needs and concerns, as well as to explain problems and describe the leader's point of view. A leader can expand his or her network of allies by reaching out to establish contact with additional people. Some leaders expand their networks through hiring, transfer, and promotional processes in the natural scheme of organizational environments. Influential leaders finally ask for what they want. If leaders are not willing to ask and persuade, they seldom get the results they want. Leaders can use courage to be assertive, saying what they believe to persuade others. In addition, leaders use techniques of persuasion such as listening, building goals and common ground, and appealing to people's emotions. Leaders can use an understanding of these principles and, more importantly, of influence to get things done.